Hello, and welcome to Angels with Scaly Wings. So, this game is a visual novel of sorts, and I've actually played this game before, but that was around 2 years ago, so I decided, why not just play it again, and this time record it and see how it goes, since it's been a while and I've forgotten most of it. This is quite different from what I normally do on this channel, but I decided, why not spice it up a bit, add a bit of variety. But yeah, so since I've played this game before, I know a lot of what'll happen in the game, so I got one of my friends to play through the game with me, just to have some sort of new reaction to what happens in the game. Anyways, I'll stop talking now and just get right into it. Detecting user profile. Not found. Please enter your name. I'll just go by Rick. Okay. I think I'll just go with a nice teal color. Does this look right? Yes, that's pretty good. Actually, maybe a brighter color. Yeah, that seems a little more pleasing to look at. Alright, before we start, please review the following information. Use left click or enter to advance. This is just controls. Cool. That would be all. The year is 20XX. Only recently has humanity discovered a portal that leads into a different world, populated with a race of intelligent, talking dragons. I was one of the few to travel to this world. But maybe I should start at the beginning. It all began when we discovered a strange device in the middle of nowhere during one of our expeditions. A portal. I had heard about similar technology before, although, wait, I just lost my lost where I was again. I had heard about similar technology before, though that had been more on an experimental level. From what I knew, other portals had been created in the past and were under consideration for mass application. As for this one in particular, though, we did not know who had built it, nor when or why we found it in the wilderness where we did. What was more exciting to us was the fact that it was functional. Jeez, I think I'm dyslexic or something, Jesus. After our first tests, we found that there was someone else on the other side who was in possession of a similar portal, and our attempts at communication through letters were successful. But in the end, the machine's extraordinary demand for power meant we needed to act as quickly as we wouldn't. Jesus, okay. We needed to act quickly as we wouldn't be able to keep the portal open much longer. When we made this known to the other side, we received a very unexpected reply, a letter of invitation. After some deliberation, it was decided to accept their hospitality and send a person to the other side. There was an individual who took the job almost immediately. Reza Izquierdo. Izquierdo. Yeah, let's just go with that. I knew him, or rather, had known him. We attended the same school back then, and even had a few classes together. We never really were close friends, but we talked to each other occasionally, and hung out with the same crowd sometimes. However, we went our separate ways in the end. I wasn't sure what to think about the whole thing, but he had to have known what he was doing. He certainly was brave. Either that, or was just very, very foolish. Well, I wasn't sure which, his courage was applauded by others. I don't know why I'm reading this in such a weird way. Okay. While I wasn't sure which, his courage was applauded by others. After all, he couldn't possibly have known who or what await him at the other end of the portal. And if he did meet someone there, who knew what kind of intentions they might have? Not that any speculation on our part would have made a difference. When the day finally came, through he went with applause echoing across the area, equipped only with the clothes he wore, his multi-tool, a gun, and a device on his wrist that acted as a PDA. Then we waited. The crowd that was applauding him slowly dispersed when the enthusiasm died down, as there was nothing for us to do but wait and speculate. Approximately 8 hours later, we received our first message from him. While we had assumed the portal led to another in a different country, or maybe on a different continent, the reality turned out to be much more foreign. The situation he described to us was so outlandish that we initially took it as a joke. A very bad joke, maybe, with even worse timing and no punchline at all. It soon became clear to us, though, that we may have just made one of the most important discoveries since the dawn of mankind. Finding the portal had been remarkable in itself, but this took it to a completely different level. From what he described about the place, or more accurately, its inhabitants, we surmised it could not be part of Earth at all. We called them dragons, because according to Reza, that's what they were, or at least what they resembled most. Even though we found it hard to believe, it had been these dragons who sent us all the letters, and what Reza found on the other side of the portal was a whole civilization of them. They could talk, write books, had buildings, and electricity. In many ways, their society was actually very similar to our own. So who were they, and where was this place? Could they be aliens? Our speculations led to conclude otherwise. After all, we knew about the existence of thousands of planets, millions of light years away, that may have been theoretically habitable. Yet even then, we had never found conclusive proof in regards to an actual alien life forms. Some people brought up quantum mechanics and parallel universes, but in the end, all of this was just conjecture and an ultimately fruitless endeavor, since we neither had the means nor the resources to explore these possibilities in greater detail. I think there's just one more thing worth mentioning before I move on. The previous isolation had been mutual. They hadn't known about any other intelligent life form beyond their own. Their portal had only recently been discovered and was a technology previously unknown to them. And just as we had myths about dragons, they had myths about us. That was what we knew about them so far, and as interesting as learning those things and debating their cultural significance was, we didn't really know what we should make of it at all. Reza was apparently sure of what he was doing, though, as he eventually let us know that they had agreed on a trade. We were to give them a few of our PDA devices, which contained vast amounts of knowledge, dwarfing even that of encyclopedias. In return, they would supply us with generators. Overall, they didn't seem as technologically advanced as we had been, but they did surpass us in one aspect. Their means of generating energy seemed sustainable. Not only that, but evidently also quite efficient. We certainly would be able to put technology like that to good use, and trading mere past knowledge of the human race for something more tangible was a good call on his part. That was where I came in. My prior experience in both biology and sociology made me a good fit to deliver our PDA devices for the trade. And while in the Dragon's world, waiting for the prototypes of our generators to be manufactured by them, I would act as an ambassador on humanity's behalf. What a way to make a first impression by a display of mutual goodwill. Everyone benefits, and everyone goes home happy. All is well. At least, that was the plan. Despite the images that living, talking dragons might conjure up in some people's minds, I didn't even think of bringing a weapon myself, considering that they were reportedly friendly and peaceful enough. There was no need for me to fear potential ill intentions like Reza did when he had stepped into unknown territory, and acting as humanity's ambassador, I had to do my best to uphold a high standard in fostering this diplomatic relationship. When the time came for me to step through the portal, all my mental preparedness vanished. Jesus, I don't know why. I think I've just forgotten how to read. My anxiousness was fueled by all the questions lurking in my head, just as the machine started to do its work. Would it hurt? Who would I meet on the other side? What if they really weren't so friendly and just made Reza write those letters, with the pretense of appearing friendly, only to lure us into the den of man-eating monsters and certain doom, with us ending up as nothing more than a tasty afternoon snack? Maybe I should have brought a weapon after all. Suddenly, I felt a shiver coursing throughout my whole body and beyond when I disintegrated. Yeah, as if every atom of my body was torn from me and pulled into a different direction. Ooh, I hate that sound, it hurts my ears. Sorry about that. I saw darkness and light, painting patterns in the stars as I traveled, and images rapidly flashing before me of things unseen and unspoken, both horrifying and beautiful. It was an experience unlike any other, yet over in just a split second. Then it was dark. I could only see a patch of lighter color contrasting with its dark shadows as my vision started to clear. Its edges got sharper as the patch of light slowly took shape, giving me the distinguished outline of a reptilian head and an array of horns sprouting from it. Hello there. It was a dragon, and as I could now see, a dragon who not only had a pair of round glasses, but also wore a burgundy tie around his neck. Remy. In the name of our people, I bid you welcome. If I may introduce myself, I am Remy, your guide and ambassador, a representative of our council. The dragon spoke. It was one thing to have heard and read about this, but something else entirely to have one standing in front of me, in flesh and blood, and tongue. It was good that all my mental preparedness had disappeared when I was teleported, because nothing could have prepared me for this. Sorry, I imagined you may... I need to give a voice. I'll think of a voice, eventually. Sorry, I imagine you might still feel the effects of the teleportation. Drowsiness or weakness is not unusual, as is fainting and spontaneous emptying of your bowels, bladder, or stomach. How do you feel? Rendered speechless, I had totally forgotten that I was shouldering the burden of representing my people to them as well. So much for being professional, but at least he gave me a good excuse for my blunder. I think I'm alright. Oh, Jesus, what the hell happened? Let me try that again. I think I'm alright. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Maybe we should go before it gets too dark. Come with me, please. So I followed the dragon, not straying too far from him, as the sun had already departed for the day. Departed? Why am I saying words so weird? What the hell happened? Okay. As the sun had already departed for the day, and the remaining light diminished by the minute. It is getting hard to see where I'm going. Sorry about that, but we had a good reason to schedule your arrival like this. We did not want you to be ambushed by a crowd, so we had to keep your exact time and date of arrival secret. Thanks. I suppose an event like this would make me a celebrity of sorts. It would be the same if one of you came to us. That's quite an understatement. Some people here are rather superstitious. They might regard you or any of your kind as divine, I suppose. Really? How so? We do have certain myths that involve humans, and as such... Oh, I suppose the history lesson will have to wait for another time. Here we are. By this point, it had gotten so dark that I could barely make out the building before us. I briefly wondered whether they might have streetlights elsewhere, or if they just did not require any due to possible enhanced eyesight or night vision. I could vaguely see the dragon, his light colors still visible within the blackness that engulfed the area. Rear up and manipulate the door handle with one of his forepaws. Cool. Ah yes, sound effects. This looks cozy. Hinges creaking, the door opened, and with the flick of a switch, the apartment was flooded with light, blinding me after all the time we had just spent without it. This is where you will live for the time being. It is fully stocked, but in case you need anything else, I left you a note with a few phone numbers. Phone numbers, jeez. Okay. It is getting rather late, so I will have to take my leave now. In any case, someone will come and meet you tomorrow morning. Thank you, Remy. Have a good night. Until we meet again. With a nod, Remy left the apartment, mindful enough to close the door behind himself. Surveying the room, I considered the events that had just transpired as my gaze met the window. I could see movement outside, and as I drew near, startled, I could hear footsteps in the grass, moving away quickly. Assuming it must have been the dragon I just met, I thought nothing of it, and as I went to bed and slowly succumbed to the sweet allure of sleep overdue. I spent a few moments thinking about my role, my mission, and what it meant to be here now. Oh, our first choice. I felt the responsibility placed on my shoulders, or I was eager for the adventure to come. I would say I felt responsibility. Sure, let's go with that. Now here I was, a stranger in a strange land, and I only began to feel the weight of the burden that lay upon me. The pressure of my tasks and the expectations I would have to meet in representing a species, culture, and civilization. So many would depend on it, yet I did not even know where the only human contact I had currently was. Jesus, why am I... I'm having like a stroke. Sometimes I just stop reading. Okay. I was alone. Alright. Oh. Inception. Yeah, speaking of Inception, jeez. Dun dun. Sounds like the Law and Order sound effect. Chapter 1. Did I say that already? I don't fucking know. Alright, so sorry for the random cut there. I just wanted to record that intro portion of the game, since how the game works is you play it over and over to get different endings for different characters. Anyways, so now I'm here with the guy I was talking about, Zinc. I'm in a Discord call with them. Hello.
Oh, hi, hello.
Hi, there we go. And I guess that's what we'll call you now, since you don't have a proper username to go by. And I'll just go from where I left off, in a way. So you might see this is here now. This is Remy's bad ending, which technically you don't know about yet. I'll just explain it as we go. I'm just gonna go so we don't... so it doesn't get too confusing. But yeah. So, Chapter 1, Trauma. I'm just gonna voice, let's just say I voice the main character, and then we can decide what we want to give other characters' voices as we go on. Okay. I awoke from uneasy dreams, looking at an unfamiliar ceiling. Just for a moment, I wondered where I was before the events of last night all came back to me. After a good stretch, I looked around the room, illuminated by the sunlight coming in from the window. Outside in the distance, the portal I had emerged from proudly stood on the peak of a small hill. Getting ready, I noticed something lying on the table. It was the note Remy had left for me in case I needed anything, along with his own phone number, home phone and work number. There were also some numbers for delivery of food and other necessities, as well as emergency and even janitorial services. He had certainly thought of everything, even though I now had to wonder what a dragon plumber might look like. My musings were interrupted when the doorbell rang. When I opened the door, I was met by another dragon. Hello. Okay. Do you want to voice Sebastian?
Hell yeah, sure.
Great.
Okay. Oh my.
Go on.
Hello, you must be Rick. I'm Sebastian, and I'll be your escort, or security, I suppose. Usually, I work for the police, though. Nice to meet you.
He seemed a lot smaller than Remy, and when he somewhat nervously extended his arm towards me, I noticed he apparently only walked on his hind legs, the two forelimbs instead having distinct arms, hands, and fingers. What shall we do as our first choice?
Shake his hand.
Shake his hand, great. When I took his hand into mine to shake it gently, I could feel the individual bumps and scales on his rough skin. Nice to meet you too, Sebastian. So, where are you taking me?
Straight to business, eh? We're going to visit the plant where they are making your generators. They have some news for you, or so I've heard. Reza will be there too.
Riza. I say Reza, but I don't know. Sounds great.
Just follow me.
While we
Come on.
walked, I was under the impression we were purposefully avoiding the busier parts of town, instead straying towards the edges and small alleys as not to garner too much attention. Even then, we got the occasional stare. After just a couple of minutes, we arrived at our destination where we were met by Reza, as well as yet another dragon, a vicious-looking beast that didn't stay too close to him. I guess. I don't know what voices to give characters.
Um,
How did you imagine Reza
mm,
sounds like?
Reza. Oh God. He'd probably sound like deeper than your voice. Yeah, just do a deeper version of your voice.
Hey, Reza, long
Oh,
time no see. Like, I don't know. I already have, like, somewhat of a deep voice. How do I go deeper than that? Hey, Reza, long
oh
time
my
no
God.
see. How true is that? Good to finally see another human face around here. What a coincidence to have you, of all people, show up. Yeah, I guess those degrees aren't so useless after all. By the way, who's your friend? Just my bodyguard, same as yours. Don't bother with him, he doesn't talk much. Okay, I bet he'd win in a fight with mine though. He looks grumpy, just like you. I'm gonna say... he looks grumpy. That's what he always looks like. And yes, it doesn't mean he's always grumpy. The two dragons exchanged a few words, and as I met the gaze of the larger, tenebrous dragon a few paces from us, Sebastian turned towards me and spoke up again.
Bruh, wait, can you hear me?
What the hell happened to your
Hello?
mic?
I just found a new mic actually, so.
Wait,
Sorry.
what? Okay, let me turn down the music a little bit. What did you say?
Hello?
You were very muffled right now.
Through the new mic.
Okay, now it's fine. What
Um,
did you do?
I thought my new mic would be better than my webcam mic, but it was not.
Okay,
So yeah.
cool.
All
Let's
right. Well.
go from there.
Oh. Okay. Hey Rick, this is Maverick.
Whoops. Nice to meet you. And okay.
Who's gonna
New
voice
voice.
Maverick?
Oh, I almost dropped my headphones. Jesus. Okay. What the hell does Maverick sound like? An even deeper voice than Reza?
Yeah, yeah, do that.
Okay. I ran out of water. My voice is gonna get so dry. I mean, my throat's gonna get so dry by the end of this. They're all gonna sound the same if they're all deep voices.
Well, he can't be
Yeah.
high pitched in your.
Yeah, whatever. Just don't expect me to give you any special treatment like everyone else. Everyone else's, and we'll be good. What are you talking about? So you're saying you haven't noticed the stairs and how they all treat you like you're the next messiah or something? No, I just thought... Okay, you should voice Rez at this point, because I'm going between like 5 different octaves here.
Fine. We're not the ones making a big deal out of this. You are. Oh my god. We're just here to get what we agreed on, and then we'll be gone. If anything, I'd actually prefer if you left us alone, but you're the one who insists on following me around wherever I go.
A growl escaped the darker dragon's trembling lips as he bared his teeth at Reza.
Alright, that's quite enough. Let's just all go inside, shall we?
After you. The crisis was quickly averted as we entered the building, which was characterized by as many floors, high ceilings, and long, narrow hallways as Sebastian led us to our destination. You are okay, you're definitely gonna voice Anna, as sarcastic as you can.
Oh god. There you are. I was waiting for you. Oh god. Wait a minute. I thought we were going to meet the guys from production. What are you doing here? They're only coming in later today, so we'll just have to make do with me.
Whoops.
I see. Well, Rick, this is Anna. She kind of manages this building, though actually she's more involved with the research wing rather than production and engineering.
Nice to meet you.
My. Wait. Sorry.
Okay.
Pleasure.
Okay.
Oh god. Okay, wait. I'm trying to be feminine. Okay, shut up. My. Fuck. Let me try to voice Anna as best as I can.
Alright. Without...
Oh fuck. That was my alarm.
For what?
I don't know. Whatever.